exclusively designed to promote reproductive health awareness and discuss fertility preservation options. Here is your host, the Harvard-educated fertility specialist, Dr. Aimee.
She's known as the egg whisperer.
Fertility expert Dr.Aimee
and you have yet another success story
just launched by an East Bay fertility doctor.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Egg Whisperer Show. You're going to want to watch the entire time tonight because we're going to actually freeze someone's sperm tonight. Just kidding, we totally aren't. But this is another fun opportunity for you to get to know me a little bit better. My name is Dr. Aimee Avazadeh, like a vase of flowers a day, or have a nice day. So I'm here to make a topic that's really, really taboo. I mean, you know what I mean. Everyone's like, shh, is she trying? Is she not trying? Should we ask her if she's trying? I think she might have had a miscarriage. Just a little bit easier to talk about. I don't want people to isolate themselves. I want this to be a safe place where you can really just let it go, have fun, and listen to me as I not just start a conversation about fertility, but I want to make something that's radioactive and really hard to talk about just a little bit easier to talk about. I mean, just recently in Time magazine, you saw a story that said 20 to 25 million Americans don't have access to treatment. So what does that mean? I mean, that means that I need to have 20 to 25 million people watching this right now, because that means that they don't have access to care. And that's what I want to change. So I'm wearing a shirt right here. It says Egg Whisperer. So what the heck is an egg whisperer? Well, an egg whisperer is someone who went to school for a really, really long time to figure out that an egg and sperm equals a baby. But in all seriousness, it means a fertility doctor, someone who can really help you. So I do something that I don't necessarily recommend you to do. And when I go into an elevator, I just kind of stand there and I'd be like, hey, does anyone know here what an egg whisperer is? And people look at me like, who's that crazy lady in the elevator? And then I say, hey, does anyone here know that a woman can actually have their breasts augmented? And they're like, oh my God, call for a psychiatric emergency. And then I say, hey, does everyone here know that a woman can freeze her eggs? See, if I can do one thing in life, I have succeeded. If the same number of people know that you can get your boobs augmented, know that a woman can check her fertility levels. This isn't rocket science, people. You can get your fertility levels checked very easily. It's a simple blood test, and then you'll know what your fertility levels are. So I was kind of joking in the middle, or in the beginning, now we're in the middle, when I said that I'm going to freeze someone's sperm today. Because when I throw egg freezing parties, they're basically fertility awareness seminars where I teach women about checking their levels over time. Everyone thinks that I'm going to actually freeze someone's eggs. But no, you can't just watch a dirty movie and put your eggs in a cup. You have to go through injections, needles, ultrasounds, a surgery in order to freeze your eggs. So egg freezing is just IVF without the F. There should be a laugh track here, but there isn't. Next time. So I was actually in the news this week, a Wired article, and the title of the article was, No, Companies Shouldn't Pay Women to Freeze Their Eggs. Last time I checked, companies are not paying women to freeze their eggs, but I love articles like this. They make women realize that you can actually get your levels checked and there's such a thing as egg freezing. What companies are doing is they're giving women the fertility benefit so they can do it without paying out of their own pocket. But I can tell you, as long as egg freezing involves surgery, injections, needles, ultrasounds, feeling bloated, I said surgery, even if it's free, people aren't running to the doctor to do it. And so the story about the egg whisperer is that the egg whisperer is throwing parties to teach women about egg freezing. No, I'm actually doing this to educate women about fertility awareness and getting your levels checked. The other thing is, if you're a fan of Dancing with the Stars, is that Nancy Kerrigan talked about her miscarriage and she received so much attention over it. And I think it was wonderful that she was doing that. And she actually came out and said afterwards, just the other day, that talking about it makes it a little less stressful. And then you realize that other people around you have had similar experiences. And just the fact that she was able to share that made her feel better, knowing that she could help other people. So a bizarre story this week. I mean, totally bizarre. And I actually believed it for like half a second. and I kind of felt bad for believing it, but I did put on Facebook that I think it was a hoax, was that a couple went to the fertility doctor and they found out right then and there that they were actually brother and sister. Ew, like so gross. And I said, that's so heartbreaking if that was actually true. But then I said, you know what? Even though this was a total hoax, this is an opportunity to teach people about genetic testing. So you can actually do a genetic test to see if you're a carrier of diseases. And supposedly that's what this couple did. And they found out that they shared the same gene mutations such that it meant that they were siblings. So is there such a thing? The answer is yes. There is such a thing that you can do genetic testing, and if you carry the exact same mutation as someone else, like the exact, that's so special, it could be that you're related. But this was clearly a hoax, and don't be afraid that you're going to find out that your husband's actually your brother, because I think you would know. So next time you read stuff online, realize that just because it's online doesn't mean it's true. This story was actually circulated also in December. So earlier this week, I was actually also interviewed for another TV show, all about empowerment and women and educating women. And the interviewer said to me, Amy, this is such a taboo topic that you're talking about fertility and egg freezing. And I was like, taboo? I was like, when you get a heart attack and your heart hurts and you go to the doctor because your heart hurts and you need to get tests done, that we don't call that taboo. But for some reason, when you have a medical problem that's related to your fertility, like, why can't we talk about that? So what I want people to know is that fertility issues usually are because you have a medical problem. So treat your fertility issue just like you would as if you had a heart issue. See the version of a cardiologist, a fertility doctor. Get an ultrasound of your heart done, an ultrasound of your uterus. Get blood work done. Fertility level checked. Get prescriptions, medications to treat the condition that you have. Don't just start taking medication without knowing what's going on. And I see countless women, men, families that come to me with this diagnosis of unexplained infertility. And I say things like, well, you haven't had a tube test done, and there's no semen analysis, so basically no one has explained it to you enough. We've gotten to that point in science where you can give most people, when I say most, I mean like 99% of people, a fertility diagnosis so that they know what their path to pregnancy should involve. And one of the things that women say to me, especially those that come in with unexplained, is let's say they're over 40 and they look great. And they say, well, it's unexplained infertility. My doctor told me I had the ovaries of a 25-year-old. Well, I can tell you that there's no such thing. I believe in the fertility of everyone who walks through my door. But no matter how awesome your eggs are at 40, they just don't look like the 25-year-old's eggs. The egg of a 25-year-old has a really high chance of being genetically normal. The egg of a 40-year-old has about a 10% chance of being normal. It's wonderful to believe in your fertility, that you have healthy eggs, but I don't want women to be misguided or misled by things that they hear. The other thing is that your DNA provides clues about your fertility diagnosis. And so I learned this from a patient of mine very recently, and she said to me, you know, Amy, you do all this diagnostic testing for me, and I wish everyone was like you, because you spend so much on treatment, let's say an IVF cycle, but if let's say you spend 10% of what you would spend on an IVF cycle on figuring out why you needed to do IVF in the first place, perhaps you would have an even higher chance for pregnancy. But people, this stuff isn't easy. It doesn't matter how much fun I try to make it. I mean, I do wear a cheerleading skirt, pom-poms, and obnoxious lipstick every day to work. No, I really don't. But that's what I feel like I do. I try and get patients to find their happy place. Not everyone needs to go to their happy place all the time. But when you're going through this stuff, make sure you have that place. This is stressful. Find that place, go to that place, have a fertility friend, and make sure you have the support that you need. In other news this week, anytime I can say Scro-tox, I will take the opportunity to do that, right? I did just say that. Apparently you can put Botox everywhere. You can put it in your balls, people. So on another note, you can't put Botox in your ovaries, right? I mean, guys have it so good. Just kidding, of course. But if there was only a way that you could freeze the ovaries in time. We would, but you just can't. A woman has a fertile window, and for most women, it's up to the age of 40. For some women, it's even 30. You wouldn't know where you are in that fertile window unless you got your fertility levels checked. And my joke is that most patients don't get married and stand at the altar and say, I can't wait to meet Dr. Aimee. I don't want people to see me. I don't. I want everyone to get pregnant on their own. My office is not sexy. It's not romantic to get pregnant in my office. Who wants to do IVF in the first place? But I can tell you, if you're a fertility doctor, you would have done these fertility levels even before you met your partner. And once you met your partner, you would have probably even had, if you're in a heterosexual relationship, had his semen test done. I can tell you that most of my friends who are fertility doctors have done that. Along the lines of semen and balls, this is actually quite funny. A patient of mine sent me this picture, and this is posted with permission by her. And she said, Aimee, I'm so stressed that I exploded your egg. And I said, oh my goodness, I think that looks like a testicle. So we now call these in my office Stressticles or Stresstes. The joke never gets old. It's funny. It's really funny. Squeeze your Stresstes before your blood draw. It's funny. So along those lines, and back to the whole thing of unexplained infertility, is I hear this all the time as well, where patients say to me, my husband has lots of sperm, but it's not very fast. And I'm like, well, that's an explanation. If the sperm is slow, it doesn't matter how much sperm you have. It's going to have a really hard time getting to the egg, because the egg and sperm meet in the fallopian tube, and then they travel down the fallopian tube to land inside the uterus. So lately, I've been thinking about how can I express to people the importance of family planning and strategic family planning at that. And so I thought about going on safari. And I said, if only Americans would spend the same amount of time that they spend planning a safari on a pregnancy, I think we'll be good. So what do you do when you plan a safari, right? Well, you Google like what diseases are there, what vaccines I need. You see a travel doctor, you get the vaccines that you need. You get books on what to do, let's say, in South Africa when you're there. So you're just as educated as possible about it. Your partner and you buy the right clothes for the trip. So why don't we do that with pregnancy? Why don't we take a moment and do the blood work that you need to do, study up, see a doctor, talk to them about what you can do to make the healthiest pregnancy for yourself. So I will be writing a pregnancy guide for patients. I'm just kidding. I'm really not. I don't have time. So what I want everyone to do is ideally get ahead of infertility, get your levels checked, and realize that you don't want to be that person that stands at that egg cliff and realize that there was something that you could have done ahead of time to give yourself a chance for pregnancy when your chances have run out. So my message to people is, if you want it, go get it, and don't let anything stand in your way. Consider every negative test. I don't consider it as failure if a cycle doesn't work. I think of it as a learning experience that can inform your next steps and get you even closer to your pregnancy. So on that note, I'm going to open the discussion up to anyone who has questions tonight.
Looks like we do have a caller from Denver.
Okay.
1 second here.
Okay.
There are some great comments about your fertility pants. I don't know if you picked up on that.
So next time, I'm going to be wearing my crotchless fertility pants. But you got to watch next time.
Okay. We have Susan on
Okay.
from Denver, Colorado. Welcome
Okay.
to the show, Susan.
Hi, Susan. Thanks for calling in. What can we do for you tonight? What's your question?
Hi, Dr. Aimee.
Hi,
so
Susan.
Great to hear from you and watch you. Thank you for doing
thank
the
you.
show. I've been watching for a couple weeks, but first-time caller.
Awesome. Thanks, Susan. How old are you?
So I'm 36.
Okay.
I have been with my boyfriend for a couple of years. However, he has a set of twins.
Okay.
And I think, hearing and seeing him with his kids has really made me realize I want to have my own
Okay.
someday. So I don't know if it's going to be with him, but I just started the research of looking into egg freezing.
Okay. And have you had your
And,
levels checked yet, Susan?
I haven't seen a doctor yet.
Okay.
But what should I do about my levels?
Yeah, I mean, you're in the Denver area. There are a lot of great fertility doctors there. And, I can test your levels for you. If you just go to the website eggwhisperer.com, that's really easy for us to set up. But basically, it's a lab slip that we can send to the lab, and then you get your levels done on cycle day 3, and that's for the FSH, estradiol, and AMH test. And then based on your levels, we can just guide you on whether egg freezing is something that you should consider or not. Have you read up on egg freezing and the process, the risks, and all that kind of stuff?
I've seen a little bit in the news. I haven't found like any specific stuff, just, on fertility sites and such.
Right. And then have you talked to your boyfriend about egg freezing?
Yeah, he's supportive of me doing it, but
Good.
I think it's really just because it takes the pressure off him.
Yeah, I think it's tough when you present that to a partner. Sometimes you don't get the reaction that you want, and that can be emotionally kind of tough. There's a really good website. It's Eggsperience, just like experience, but eggsperience.com. And I think that it provides a lot of good, testimonials from women talking about egg freezing, the experience, and I think there are also some clinic connections through there that you can make as well. So it's a really helpful website, and I'm obviously happy to help as well anytime.
Great.
Okay.
Well, I will go to your website and get my levels checked with you.
Okay. Thank you, Susan, for calling. Have a great night.
Thank
Bye.
you, Susan. She's our caller for the
Okay.
evening.
Awesome. Well, next time we will be freezing someone's sperm, and I will be wearing my crotchless IVF pants. So if you're curious and you want to know how you do that and what the heck I'm talking about, please tune in again, because my goal is to make this taboo topic just a little bit easier to talk about with a lot of humor. Have a great night.
Welcome to the Egg Whisperer Show, a program exclusively designed to promote reproductive health awareness and discuss fertility preservation options. Here is